Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SoberGang podcast. That's right. This is the SoberGang podcast. Now, I would like to apologize to my following. Most of you don't know, or you do know, that I am a hip hop artist. However, it has gotten back to me that the SoberGang is a little upset that we ain't been focused on sobriety recently. So I want to let y'all know that since the start of SoberGang podcast, your boy done had to start my time over, if you catch my drift, So today we celebrating 36 days marijuana free. And since that's my big issue, we're gonna get into this sobriety topic to say, well, can I stay sober and keep smoking weed? So I'm gonna react to a video. You're gonna watch it with me and we're gonna see how we feel. Let's go ahead. This one's called Everything We Know About the Health Effects of Marijuana from the Global News.
Canadians brace themselves for the legalization of recreational pot, there have been many debates over whether or not cannabis is good for you. On one side of the spectrum, you get the pro-pot group.
This is a freedom that has no victim, no crime.
Then you get other people arguing any pot smoking will kill you and everyone around you.
Marijuana, the burning weed with its root in hell.
The dichotomy of these two views can be traced to two chemical compounds found in marijuana, CBD and THC.
There's a difference
Cannabis
between CBD,
cannabidiol, or CBD,
hemp,
a chemical thought to be responsible for many of marijuana's therapeutic effects.
CBD
it is the compound in medicinal marijuana used for treating chronic pain, inflammation, nausea, and anxiety, among other things. It is important to make the distinction between this compound and THC,
THC is
which
what
is
you
what
take
gets
to
you
get
high and is sometimes connected to the harmful aspects of weed.
So CBD is cannabidiol. It's like the yin to the yang of THC. It's quite a promising medicinal ingredient, but it does not have any recreational value.
The thing is, since the substance has been illegal for so long, the health industry hasn't really invested in long-term health studies. So we truly don't understand its long-term impact. But a massive report by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine gives one of the most comprehensive looks at exactly what we know about the science of cannabis as a whole. Marijuana use affects the lungs, but doesn't seem to increase the risk of lung cancer. But there may be a link between smoking pot, bronchitis, and chronic coughs.
Typically, cannabis in the past has been consumed through combustion methods such as smoking. The reality is when you heat a product up past 400 degrees Fahrenheit, you get toxic byproducts such as benzene, and benzene can go into the body and cause carcinogenic effects.
So smoke is always unhealthy.
Marijuana may help relieve some types of pain.
And THC actually has anti-inflammatory effects. So if there is inflammation in the body, this plant can actually reduce some of the inflammation in the body.
Some evidence suggests that pot smoking may play a role in triggering a heart attack. Within a few minutes of inhaling marijuana, your heart rate can increase between 20 and 50 beats a minute, according to the U.S. National
I just smoked a blunt. I'm having a heart attack.
On the mental health front, evidence reviewed suggests that pot use may increase the risk of developing schizophrenia and other psychosis.
When you consume too much,
for people who are already bipolar,
insight or awareness as to what's going on, that it can lead to many medical complications or issues. The biggest one is psychosis. The overall risk is still quite low. Some of the research out there shows 1 in about 20,000 people can have a psychotic episode from the use of cannabis.
Hold on. I'm going to say something about that psychotic episode. So there's people who are already schizophrenic and bipolar, and when they smoke, they turn into the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's for sure. Let's keep it rolling.
It's also linked to a small increased risk of depression, but it doesn't seem to be a gateway for hard drugs, as some opponents argue.
Not a gateway.
Surprise, the report also found that learning, memory, and attention are impaired immediately after getting high. But there was limited evidence showing a connection between cannabis use and lower academic achievement. The committee behind the report that looked at the health effects of weed considered more than 10,000 studies published since 1999 for its analysis and reached nearly 100 conclusions. Of course, we can't go through them all, but we asked our expert, if you're going to use pot, what is the safest way of doing it?
One could recommend vaporizing or ingestion, and those two methods will produce the least amount of harm because smoking is the toxic method of consumption. Vaporizing will not create those toxic ingredients. It would give someone an effect that would be short term. So if you're going to consume cannabis, you should start low, and that should be 5 milligrams of THC or less. And and you should wait 6 to 8 hours to see what effect you had.
With recreational pot scheduled to be legalized on October 17th, Verbura predicts more people will be using it, at least at the
5
beginning.
years ago.
However, with its wide availability, there will likely be more investment in health studies to evaluate the impact pot may have on our health.
Hey, the last dude at the end had a
Thanks for watching
backwood.
Global News.
All right,
For
man.
more
So
videos from our marijuana
this is
legalization
everything we
series,
know about the
click
health
on the
effects of
videos here.
marijuana from
Also
the global
hit the
news.
subscribe button on
Okay.
the screen to make sure you get all the latest
In conclusion, I probably should have broke it up and spoken more, but I'm just gonna conclude with I know for myself, I can't smoke weed and be 100% normal, and even sober I'm not normal. I mean, some of y'all know I'm crazy, man. There's something wrong with me. So when I smoke, man, I start thinking that I'm Tupac and Mac Dre and Che Guevara and the world's greatest robber, and I think I'm Burner, and you know, and the Jack, you know what I'm saying? And so I be smoking weed and I be having these split personality issues that somebody might say is like a manic episode, as they say, like it stars mania. I've experienced it, but I be tripping. I smoke a blunt and trip, and I am I stopped doing all forms of drugs in 2009 when they released me from my group home and they stopped mandating meds for me. I stopped taking all drugs, no thizzles, no cocaine, no nothing ever. So my whole test results are from marijuana and drinking and shrooms, and I have to say, like, you can damn near turn into a dope fiend off of just drinking and smoking. But you know what? Today's episode is about weed, so I gotta be honest about the weed. I have seen weed take people who were struggling with bipolar and turn them into full-on dope fiends, just weed. And I have seen, I've seen things like that. I've seen weed drag people into drug addicts' lifestyle. Just smoking all the time, being obsessed with who has weed, only hanging out with people who smoke. You know, it messes you up. For me, it brings me around the drug dealers and the robbers. And I start smoking enough blunts with drug dealers and robbers, and I start feeling like a drug dealing robber. And that's not who I am, man. I'm from Alameda, man. Even being from Alameda, there's a lot of drug dealing robbers in Alameda. I'm not one of them. I'm a law-abiding citizen, and my freedom is not a luck of the draw. My freedom is dependent on my law-abiding behavior. And so, me personally, I gotta put the blunts down. I cannot even be indoors around marijuana smoke or I start tripping. So, with that being said, that's my marijuana episode. Is marijuana sober? You decide. I've decided that it's not a part of sobriety. And my sobriety journey has nothing to do with backwoods with marijuana in them and lighting them up and putting them to my lips. You know, my sobriety journey has to do with when you do that, I go away. And that's how I've been able to stay on this path. Man, I don't preach quit smoking weed, but I had to quit. It drove me crazy, make my behavior nuts. It make my behavior different, man. So I just can't keep on trying to use it to help. I do have anger problems that marijuana is good to quell, and without it, you know, I gotta watch my attitude, man. I'll be spazzing sometimes, so forgive me if I spaz on you, man. But I'm sober, I'm chilling, and the very next thing is to try to figure out this vaping, the regular little vapes. Man, I'm trying to get nicotine free too. You know, some people say that if you don't smoke blunts, you'll be sober, but man, I just don't believe it anymore, man. I'm not about to smoke a J or eat the edible like they said at the end or vape and try to get good results. Me, I'm not. So yeah, Sober Gang podcast, man. We out of 10 minutes. Follow my Bandcamp, Da Vizzle Bandcamp. And subscribe to my YouTube, The Sober Gang Podcast. Don't forget the. All right, peace. We out.